As you know, in the general elections, we got different politicians. So today we have a Prime Minister, Theresa May. So welcome, Prime Minister.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be speaking to you.
Recently, what happened in Manchester was a shameful act. When these sort of acts happen, so like the minority communities, so basically the Sikh communities, if we take the example of 9/11, after this there was a lot of hate crimes and Sikh identity problems. What your government will do to promote the Sikh identity and stop the hate crimes?
Well, first of all, obviously, the attack that took place in Manchester was an absolutely horrific attack. And I'm conscious that when attacks like this take place, we do sometimes see, as we have done, an increase in hate crime. The first thing I would say to people in the Sikh community is to make sure that if you experience hate crime, that you do report that to the police so that they can take appropriate action. I've been very clear. When I was Home Secretary, before I was Prime Minister, we published our Hate Crime Action Plan, that there is no place for hate crime in our society. We need to ensure that people feel confident enough to report it when it does take place, and obviously for the police to take action as appropriate.
Labour has confirmed in their manifesto to conduct an independent inquiry on the role of British government in Operation Blue Star. Will you also conduct an investigation on British government's involvement?
Well, obviously, the incident that took place, it's nearly 30 years ago, was absolutely tragic loss of life. And I know how very painful it is to the Sikh community. Obviously, that's why, when there were suggestions of British government involvement, that we moved quickly to ensure that there was an inquiry that took place into that. That was published, the findings of that were published and were discussed with representatives of the Sikh community. And I think that is now behind us. What I do want to do is to ensure that we are working with the Sikh community here in the United Kingdom. We've been able to do a number of things, like ensuring that there are not unnecessary searches in relation to turbans at airports, for example. A number of things we can do to ensure that the Sikh community is able to continue to play its very valuable part in our society.
Your statement is like that no deal is better than a bad deal. So what does it mean?
Well, I'll tell you what a bad deal would look like. I think that, there are people in Europe who talk about wanting to punish the UK, and I think that could lead to a very bad deal for us. And people here in the UK and other political parties who seem to be willing to accept the worst possible deal at the highest price. I think it's important in negotiations that we're clear that if we are getting a bad deal, we believe that no deal is better than that, and we would be prepared to walk away. But I'm also confident that we can get a good deal, and I'm optimistic that we can get a deal that works for everyone in the UK.
A lot of European people came in UK and they are settled down. Their life is settled down. So what will happen to them after, Brexit? So like if there is a bad deal and there is a no deal between UK and European Union, so what will happen to them?
Well, in looking at the deal that I want to negotiate with the European Union, I'm conscious that there are many EU citizens who are now living in the UK, contributing to our economy and our society. There are also UK citizens living in the other countries in the European Union. And I want to be able to guarantee the rights of EU citizens here, but I also want reciprocity. Because as British Prime Minister, I think it's right that I think about British citizens who've gone to live in Europe. So I want to see a reciprocal deal, and I want to see us doing that and looking at that issue at an early stage of the negotiations. I think it's important to give reassurance to people.
So are we looking for the hard Brexit or the soft Brexit?
Well, I don't use those terms. I don't recognise those terms. What I'm looking for is the best Brexit deal for Britain, and that's the best Brexit deal for everyone, for all of us. And I believe we can achieve a good deal. I'm optimistic about what we can achieve, but also about the opportunities that will be open to us as a country when we leave the European Union, opportunities to build a better, more secure future for us all.
And then, Prime Minister, I just want to ask you, what's the reason that what you will say to the Sikhs that they vote for Conservative? Why?
Well, I think it is important that people look at this election, which I think is the most crucial that we've seen in our country in my lifetime. We're at an important moment of change for this country, and there's a very clear choice. There's only one of two people going to be Prime Minister after the election, either me or Jeremy Corbyn. And I think the question people should ask is, who do they trust to have the strong and stable leadership to get the best Brexit deal for Britain in Europe, who has the will and the plan to get on with the job of delivering Brexit, and who actually has a plan to build a stronger Britain for the future. I have all of those things. Jeremy Corbyn doesn't.
Yeah, as we know, this is a historic moment, historic elections, because after that, we're going to have a Brexit. And so we wish all the best to Prime Minister Theresa May for this elections. Thanks a lot for joining with us, Akaal Channel SKY 843. Thank you very much.